Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at your questions and comments from more Greek heroes of antiquity. However, before we begin, I would just like to remind you that we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also posted our email address and Instagram information. Moving right along, our first question is from Olivier. He wants to know more about Greek archetypes. Well, Olivier, I believe these Greek heroes are intended as the proper way Greeks are to act and behave. I do find it most interesting that regardless of how strong or brave a hero is, he must have a certain amount of cunning. Take for example Bellerophon. He immediately assessed that even with Pegasus, he could not kill the Chimera. He jammed a block of lead down the monster's throat, and when it tried to blow fire, the Chimera actually killed itself. Another example, perhaps the best, would be Odysseus and the wooden horse. After 10 years of brutal warfare, the Greeks were victorious through trickery. Our next question is from Sandal. She wants to know why sacrificing a princess is the only offering that appeases both monsters and the gods. Sandal, that's a very good question. I believe it's because of the value placed upon a princess. She can bring one's status or wealth. Thereby, it would be a great sacrifice to lose her. Our next question is from Harvey. He says that he doesn't understand the ancients and how they treated guests. Harvey, back in the day, travel was much more difficult and dangerous. It was almost like taking refuge within someone's home. In that sense, not to honor one's guests could be seen as an unpardonable sin. Even today, Hispanic peoples use the expression, mi casa es su casa, my home is yours. Next, we have a comment from Autus. He goes on to say that Bellerophon was indeed the bravest of the brave because he flew straight into the jaws of death to kill the Chimera. Autus agreed. Bellerophon was brave, intelligent, and handsome. He was obviously popular with women, as he had queens and princesses swooning over him. Unfortunately, he lost everything over his ego. As we press on here, let's see, we have another comment. This one is from Noel. He goes on to say that these kings always seem to come up with elaborate labors or ways to kill the hero. They should just order, off with his head. Noel, you make a valid comment. However, where would the story be if the hero wasn't challenged in some sort of way? Keep in mind that these are morality tales, and the point is to show that Bellerophon succeeded at everything, yet in the end, he failed himself due to his ego. Another point being made is that the punishment doled out by the gods can be harsh or in fact extreme. In Bellerophon's case, most extreme. Let's press on. Our next question is from Clive. Clive wants to know, in these tales, just how much control over people's lives did the gods have? Clive, that's a very good question. One's fate was not exactly written in stone. The gods also were not omnipotent. In fact, they also had their own frailties. However, they could help those they favored and severely punish those who crossed them. Our next question comes from Maggie. Maggie wants to know if Bellerophon ever returned to Corinth. Maggie, you pose a very interesting question. I couldn't find any information to give you a definitive answer. However, I would say yes, and that he was received as a heroic native son. What am I basing this on? I'm basing it on the artwork of Corinth. The artwork displays Bellerophon as the slayer of monsters and the protector of the people. Let's see, next we have a question from Natasha. Natasha wants to know what happened to Princess Philonoe after Bellerophon tried to fly off to Mount Olympus. Natasha, that's a very good question. Since she was not really integral to the plot of the story, she was just lost to the pages of the Greek epics. Though she was around long enough to bear Bellerophon 2 sons and a daughter. Had this been a true story, her father probably would have married her off to another noble. Our next question comes from Penny. She didn't know Bellerophon had a son. What happened to him? Yes, Penny, Bellerophon had 2 sons and a daughter. The eldest was named Pisander, and he was killed in a battle by Eris during a war with the Selemi people. As to what happened to the second son, Hippolochus, there is no account of him. Most likely he suffered the same fate as his mother. Since he was not an important character to the story, he was most likely just written out of the epic tale. Since Bellerophon shared King Iobate's kingdom, I suspect that in due time, Hippolochus being the next heir apparent, the kingdom would have been left to him. As for Bellerophon's daughter, Laodamia, she had an affair with Zeus and gave birth to a son. Later, she was shot and killed by Artemis. Alright, we have time for one more question. Let's take a look here. This one comes from Wes. Wes wants to know how the stories of Bellerophon and Perseus got intertwined. Wes, that's a bit of a tough question to answer. The confusion or combining of the 2 characters seemed to first appear during the classical period. By the time we reach the Middle Ages, Perseus is heralded as the slayer of many of the monsters of antiquity. This is the end of part 2 of More Greek Heroes of Antiquity. Just as a reminder, we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. For your convenience, we have also listed our email address and Instagram information. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Traveler's Tales. Traveler's Tales will return with the Minotaur and the Labyrinth of Crete. Kartistos.